How do I pass the NCLEX-PN test? Top 4 problems you must solve if you want to pass the NCLEX-PN. You have to pass the NCLEX-PN if you want to live your calling as a practical nurse. Do you know a nurse you always thought was the greatest, and you've sought to be somewhat like him or her? You've known for years nursing is the ideal profession for your unique abilities, aptitudes, and interests. Ever since you can remember, living your dream life as a practical nurse is what really nurtures your soul. You want to be a practical nurse so that you can live your calling and help patients get better and feel better about themselves. Nothing is cooler than seeing your patients make progress and greatly appreciate your contributions to their quality care. Being a nurse is what you were put on this earth to do. You know, to turn your passion into reality, you have one last obstacle you have to bust through. You must pass your NCLEX-PN exam. You've probably been thinking over and over again, how do I pass the NCLEX-PN test? After all, thousands of highly qualified nurse candidates fail this exam every year. So what can you do to avoid being yet another NCLEX-PN exam roadkill? Is the NCLEX-PN exam like the test in your nursing classes? Will you pass the NCLEX-PN on your upcoming testing date, or will you go through a never-ending spin cycle of failure, causing your career to crash on the rocks and get washed up on the shore of despair? Here are the 4 main causes of NCLEX-PN test score failure reported by NCLEX-PN test takers. Problem number 1. The amount of information you're required to know on the NCLEX-PN is too vast. There is too much overwhelming information to learn. You may say, this exam and information has little to do with my ability to be a good nurse, and you're absolutely right. You may also exclaim, the vast amount of information that could pop up on the NCLEX-PN was never taught in my nursing classes. It's a scam and just not fair. Right again. I've heard hundreds of NCLEX-PN test takers say, how do I pass the NCLEX-PN test if I clearly do not know what I am facing? I couldn't agree with you more. Problem number 2. I need a focus to narrow the information to what's actually tested so I know what to study. It's not possible to study everything but the kitchen sink and expect to pass the NCLEX-PN. Problem number 3. I've been out of college for many years. I'm not getting any younger. It's hard taking a test like this at this point in my life and career. Haven't I proven myself already? I did well in my nursing courses and graduated. Because the law dictates it, I have to do hundreds of practice questions, buy a slew of 300-page study guides, and eventually take this nerve-wracking test. A fellow student at my school, she is in her 50s, took the test several times and failed it. She was given one last chance, or else she will be banned from the practical nursing career she's invested years preparing for by going back to college. She lost big time. I'm a second career, middle-aged nurse candidate, and I feel I might end up like her too. Problem number 4. I do not have the time to study with work and family and have procrastinated. I've hardly cracked any of my NCLEX-PN review books. I know I haven't studied enough to pass the NCLEX-PN. This is disastrous. It stresses me out so much since the test is a few weeks away. I am constantly thinking, I will fail, I will fail, I will fail, and see my family losing our home and our standard of living. And if I am axed from the practical nursing career I love, I feel there is no way now for me to pass the NCLEX-PN. Why did I procrastinate in all the weeks leading up to my testing date? I wish I took action when I still had a decent chance for test success. No amount of test preparation will make everything better. If you're doing all the wrong things in your NCLEX-PN test preparation or using the wrong NCLEX-PN review guides. On the brighter side of things, you may be overwhelmed with so many things to study in too little time. You may feel inadequate being out of school so long and lose confidence. Still, it does not change the fact that you need to be a licensed nurse in order to provide for yourself, family, and make a difference in the lives of patients who need you. What you must do now, amidst all your trouble, is 1. Ask recent test takers who passed the NCLEX-PN how they did it. What test preparation strategy caused them to pass? When you ask them, be sure to address the specific problems you're facing and how they overcame those obstacles in NCLEX-PN preparation and NCLEX-PN test taking. When you first start talking, the NCLEX-PN test taker may be slow to reveal their secrets and insights, but after you talk to them for 4 or 5 minutes, they tend to warm up. Don't be surprised if your sincere but probing questions yield some juicy nuggets and shocking revelations about your NCLEX-PN study you can use to finally slay this beast and pass your upcoming NCLEX-PN test. 2. Only use NCLEX-PN study guides by practical nurses who passed. 3. Find out what test takers who passed did to break through the vast, overwhelming NCLEX-PN content and get a focus for NCLEX-PN test success. Do that, and like a giant ship in the ocean, you can turn around your NCLEX-PN test prep problems that seemed impossible before you lose the practical nurse career you've worked so hard to achieve. To discover proven and patented tactics to pass the NCLEX-PN by nurses who passed, go to www.teachingsolutions.org/NCLEXPN.html right now.